we are operating from different locations today. Steve Keeley is actually helping us out. He's in the studio right now, and I'm actually home. Wally Waters, Joslas Tosa. See what everybody's saying. Jonathan Wilson. Well, my signal stayed strong here long enough for me to say hi and make a share. Thanks for joining us, Jonathan. We appreciate it. Guys, you're looking at a really cool map that I worked on, and this map is pretty straightforward. Um, and today, since we're not all in the same spot, we're going to do a writing session so that we can play this next week. So be excited to see how it goes. Let's actually make sure, guys. Give me a favor and give me a text right there in the chat and let us know that you are actually hearing me right now. So I know I'm not talking to my friends here and to nobody else in the whole world. So let us know if you're hearing everybody. I guess while we're waiting for that, how you guys doing today? What's going on?
Oh, going pretty good. Working from home here. Been in isolation all day, so good to interact with some people other than my work friends.
Okay, so
It's BS.
They're hearing no audio. No.
Oh no.
Oh no. Does someone have like their Facebook open on their phone?
Oh wait, Derek's saying he's got audio. Jason has audio. Joshua says very low audio, but they got it.
Very low.
Okay. Steve, see if you can do me a favor and see if you can get the audio up a little bit. Maybe help that out. It's going from normal to low. It's going back and forth. Yeah. So Steve, see if it's possible if you can raise that audio for everybody. Good. It looks like people are hearing us though. So yes, it's definitely gonna be a little bit of an unusual episode because we are in different spots. We actually put this together today in the last second just so we could do a stream because a lot of people keep asking about what we're doing today, and we wanted to make sure we get out there. So let's get right into it, guys. On the screen is something that I'm very excited about. It's like it's in a simple form idea. I love the way it looks, and hopefully you guys are all seeing it right now. And basically, what this is I want to create a different version of the game we've already been playing. So this is going to be something where you guys are dropped in, and I know last week Percival was saying that he wanted to do more role playing. He wanted to kind of like perhaps combine what we've been doing with role play, but it's still a one-off session and still like a PvP survival. So if you look at this map, I was calling this as a fun name, the Deadly Dimension. And
ooh,
yes. So how it would work is you would start in the map somewhere. I think on the left side, and on the upper left side, and the idea is that kind of like an old Dark Tower game, you'd have to go into the towers and collect a key. And you need 3 keys from each one of the 3 towers or fortresses around the map. And once you collect the keys, you guys return to the portal, which is all the way at the top of the map on the left side. It looks like a little archway, like a stone archway.
Okay.
and only one person can go through the archway. So here's the idea, and this again, what we're gonna do today, since we're obviously limited for how we can't really play the game right now, but I figured it'd be a lot of fun because I know everyone loves creating the games with us. So what we can do is we can go through it together and actually try to come up with the rules. So guys at home, if when you're watching with us, join in and give me weird ideas, give me crazy ideas, anything you could think of, just looking off the map. And we're gonna try to make something really fun, and you're gonna get to watch it a week from today as we play through. So the whole point of this game, I wanted to make it more like when you play the social games, guys like Dan and Rob, when you play like and Vin, when you play like Werewolf and stuff like that, it's kind of spooky when you're playing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, sure. Mm-hmm.
So something I wanted to create a game here where, as you're playing, the game it's kind of scary, a sense of being scared to like. You kind of want to stay together because there's safety in numbers, but at the same time, only one person can survive, and they might kill you or take advantage of a situation. So there should always be this battle during the game of, should I be by myself, should I be in a smaller group, or should I be in a larger group. So the idea is that you would have to face monsters as you're going. There's a couple of ways to rest and get hit points back, but it's far and few between. And again, you have to go through the whole map, getting to the towers, getting all the keys, and then getting back to the portal to escape. So ask me, I guess, introductory questions, then we'll get into it.
So I'm assuming we get these keys. So one person needs to get 3 keys and use the 3 keys to go through the portal. Is that
Exactly.
basically it?
Exactly. Now
And-
the black is like a void, and anytime you cross a bridge, there's almost like a chance where anything in the black, like the shadows, can pretty much like get you and like take you. And it basically would be the loudest player that crosses the bridge. There's a chance that they'll get taken. So it's almost like the game is always this chance that the game is trying to actively kill you. And when you're with each other, there's this whole element that I've added, which I'll explain to you in a little bit, about when you're resting and you're kind of relying and trusting each other. So I'm trying to make it like very scary, tense kind of version of the other D&D Royale game we play.
So
this
it
is
would.
almost-
Yeah, go ahead, Vin.
So I was gonna say this is almost like some of those games where we want to start off working together, but we really need to figure out the right moment to backstab each other, so we end up the one with the key at the end that can go through the gates.
Yes, and if you do it too early, it's almost like if you let too many people live to the end, you're gonna lose your advantage probably. And if you don't allow enough people to get to the end, then it will be too hard for you to get there. Jarrett Wood says create a Corona Tower and make it where everyone is isolated. Nice. I think we're all in the Corona Tower right now.
Yeah.
War Troll Band at Broken Down Bridge on lower right quadrant. Yeah, so actually there would be creatures all over the place, and there should be a random counter check basically whenever anybody is moving. I can make it using Fantasy Ground Software, one of our sponsors. I can use the figures from Fantasy Grounds to actually move characters around, like enemies around, that you can see it. But the random encounter feel like playing Final Fantasy or like the old Dragon Warrior, or when the enemies are invisible, and you can trigger an encounter by probability as you walk around the map and make it dangerous too. Go ahead, guys. Ask me more questions.
I have one. It's just I'm a little afraid as a player that there's a dragon on the map.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's a dragon there.
So
It's
is that like a legit game element, or is that just meant to be like the here there be dragons on an old fashioned?
That dragon is. So that was one of the things that was kind of going over, like exactly like the first game, where there's things that the audience can interact with. So the audience can add in like a creature guarding the tower, for example. So I put it there to kind of see if I like the idea of that. So it's not necessarily there; it's just like the idea of it.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So there's the 3 towers, got to collect the 3 keys. There's just 1 key total. So the first person to get to that tower, they now have the key, and everyone else would need to get it from them.
So each tower has 1 key. Say it's a brass, silver, and gold key, and one in each tower. Um, there's no relevance to the different ones that you get. You just need to have them all, and you need to return them to that portal, that archway up in the left-hand side. If you do, then you win the game, and only one person can win.
And is there a chance nobody wins? I imagine it sounds like there's a chance everyone just dies and nobody escapes the island.
Absolutely, because it can come down to one person is left, and they're trying to cross the last bridge, and they're too loud, and maybe the shadows come and they take them. So like no one could win. Absolutely, that could happen. Yeah.
So it kind of sounds like this is going to be like a regular quest, like a one-off quest. Then at the end, when we get to if we get all the keys and we get to the portal, it's just going to turn into like the battle royale at that point. Because like,
right.
I mean, it sounds like there's going to be a lot of monsters here to fight, a lot of surprises, a lot of environmental stuff. So is there any advantage to killing somebody off before you have all the keys or before you're right next to the portal?
So is there an advantage? No, I mean, so you mean you want, if you come down to the end of the map. I mean, again, and we're gonna work this out together as a team right here. But
yeah,
if you get to the end and you don't feel like that you can defeat the other person or the other person's with you, then you have a problem. You kind of want to get to the end of the game with the player that you think you can defeat. So again, think the D&D Royale game we've been playing the last 4 episodes. Today's episode is episode 5, the Deadly Dimension, as we're reviewing this game. But consider those weeks and how everyone is going around and you're getting items and you're getting weapons and armor and things like that. And maybe you want to take, player X with you because you feel like, oh, this player is not doing that great. They don't have a lot of items. I can take them in combat. I kind of want them to be with me. So maybe there's alliances, maybe there's not. You don't want to be at the end in front of the gate with all 3 keys, and then you're the biggest target because you're holding all 3 and you have to battle 5 people. So the same regard, you don't want to go through the game without having people with you. So we want to make it so that there's as much allure to somebody saying, oh, maybe I should go solo or with one other person, or I should stay with the group. Real quick before you guys reply, Derek Luxton is saying, one thing I did that terrified my players was I introduced a roaming enemy that only attacked if you rolled high enough to actually perceive it. Otherwise, you never know when or where it might be. That's interesting. Could be something like, I like that idea a lot, actually.
That's tricky.
Yeah, like so it's almost like if you're, and that kind of goes into the fear element, because if you're too loud, it's kind of like that movie with
Quiet Place.
Yes, the Quiet Place is a great example. If it's something that there's an enemy always around you, and that's kind of what the shadows are in here. And if you make enough noise, you would trigger that, and maybe we could put that element to the game. So that's a great idea, Derek. Great job. Jared Woods, I love how no matter what is going on in the world, D&D will always prevail. Absolutely, 100%.
That's right.
Joshua Creek says, "Are you going to have the characters have the knowledge that only one can pass through, or would you make them keep that player knowledge hidden till the end?" I'm not sure I understand the question.
I think he's saying, in other words, as players, should we know about the fact that only one player can be allowed through, or is this something that's going to be a surprise?
I think they should know.
Yeah,
the characters.
Yeah, so if I played this, for example, this would be a really fun quest to kind of play through in ordinary tabletop play. But I'm trying to make it where it's a little bit of a board game, and it's kind of what we were doing in the last episodes with D&D Royale. But now for the first time, this can bring back in like a one-off campaign, the role-playing aspect of Dungeons & Dragons tabletop and such. So hopefully that altogether can work. Joshua Creek says that could be a Displacer Beast, Lord, and Pride. Displacer Beast could be interesting.
One other thing, Tony, one question for you there. As far as like once you get all 3 keys, right, we want to keep the game moving. So would we do something like once the players get to 3 keys, the cloud starts to come in and forces them to move towards the gate quickly?
I was thinking about a time limit, possibly. That could be an element. So I guess, yeah, I'm not sure. Definitely a maybe. And if you notice on the left-hand side, I have a bridge there. I was also thinking of adding a bridge on the top right, so you can complete the circle. You would probably start in the top left, and you can go around the whole thing, and then end on the portal, crossing the bridge last. So here's the elements. And again, I'm trying to make the game spooky. I'm trying to make it like you can always, you could die at any moment almost. If you'll notice on the bottom of the map, there is definitely similar to Hunger Games, Jason. Absolutely. You'll notice on the bottom of the map near the bridge, there's a town there. That is the only town on the map. Now, the idea is the player would either start on the top left, or maybe you could even start on the bottom left quadrant, with a fortress on the bottom left, and then they can walk over to the town. Now, in the town, everyone can rest. Josh was asking about the storm. I don't think in this game, I'd put the storm in. I would actually try not to put the storm in and make it just like it's just about survival. But that's just the first idea. So in the town, you guys can rest, and resting, I think, should be the most crucial element of this gameplay. So like if you can rest, you can gain back all your hit points. In the town is the only safe place that you can rest, and because you can get your own room, you don't have to worry about somebody hurting you in your sleep and things like that. You guys will have opportunities to rest in the wild, which would be very, very dangerous, or you actually can rest in these fortresses, just because it's the only kind of structure that's around that's not out where the shadows can get you and stuff like that. But here's what I'm thinking: making it a game element where when you rest, players can actually kill you in your sleep, and that's something where it's like every time you rest, you want to rest, you're gonna think, okay, I'm either going to rest and talk about it, and I think my allies, temporary allies, quote unquote, need me. 2, I have somebody that's guarding me. Or 3, maybe I don't even rest because I think that everyone is kind of after me. So it'll be interesting to see the element where people are trying to not only beat the game, but then mistrust will start falling in, and they have to both agree to rest. So to do that, and I'll open it up for a debate in a second. To do that, we'll go around a table, and for example, and everyone will close their eyes. And you can't, Charlie Lewis, you can't cross the mountains. You can't cross the black either. So you got to go by a bridge or just walk on the land. You cannot cross over the mountains. So everyone around the table would close their eyes. And then when we're in this mode, kind of like Werewolf, if you played Werewolf, if you open your eyes, you're awake, you gain no hit points. That's it. And you lose that turn. If you open your eyes, it should be with the intent to do something, and you can be able to kill another player if you wanted to, or just steal something from them if you wanted to. And then if other people have their eyes open with that person, they'll know what's going on, and they could prevent you from killing somebody, or they can be aware that you stole something from somebody, but that person necessarily won't know anything unless there was an ally being present. So there's this huge social element to the game that I think might be interesting. So knowing that, what do you guys think?
One question for you: how do you regulate when night happens? Like if the groups are split up, and let's say one group is in town, they want to go to sleep, but another group is, say, traveling to a tower.
They split up. So I'm using the Fantasy Ground software. You would see 2 different. Let's say the group split in half. You would see two different groups, and they're going around. And as we go around the maps, they're taking their turn as a team, and the other ones are taking their turn as a team. They do whatever they want to do. Maybe the turns to 2 teams until the very end. They fight it off, or maybe they go as one group the whole way, or maybe 4 guys go by themselves and 2 guys go by themselves.
So how are we going to handle this whole issue of like who has what knowledge? Like if I'm in one tower on one side of the map and there's another group in another tower on the other side of the map, and they, let's say, they get a key. Will my character know that they have, like, will I have to play as a character who doesn't have the knowledge that they have the key? Or is it just like a regular board game? Like I saw they got the key, now I know they have the key and I can act on that knowledge.
Because it's not straight up Dungeons and Dragons tabletop, and it is a board game. Anything that happens in the map, like we do with D&D Royale, the players have to know. So whether we can say it in a game that like they take the key and all of a sudden a light comes from the sky over the fortress, and it can be seen from miles away. No matter where you are on the map. So that the only other people looking for the keys, they have it. Maybe you don't know which person has it, but maybe the keys are gone. And we could even keep that as a mystery too. If whoever's there in the fortress, will know. We can make a roll or something like that, so you get the key, and maybe in real life, no one around the table will know except for the people who are actually there.
Yeah, I think that's cool. If we know someone got a key, but we don't know exactly who, so then it becomes a whole issue of we're going to try and rob somebody or something. You might have to, know exactly who it is. You may run the risk of robbing someone who doesn't have the key at all. You guess wrong, or something like that. It's interesting.
Right. So you were always poking each other, back and forth to make it like you're half trusting everybody. You don't know who you really should trust completely, but you kind of need people because if you do go by yourself, you will be facing monsters and all this stuff by yourself.
Hey guys,
Who's that?
What's that?
that's Percival. That's Percival in the house.
Was that the Necromancer?
I was like, who's that? First of all, what's going on?
Voice
Hello, everybody.
It took me forever to figure out how to get this.
First of all, if you could lower down a little bit, you're distorting a little bit. So hey, Scott Walter and Phil Castellano joined. Phil, if you want to get in here, just follow the instructions. Otherwise, we'll talk to you here on Facebook.
Is that better? Could you hear me better now?
It's good. You're very loud, but you're good. But probably to everyone on the stream, it's probably a good volume. To us, it's a little loud. Derek says maybe something like players can always tell the general location of a key once it's been taken, but not know who has it. Only players who were there who know who has it. Yeah, I agree with that, Derek. But we could just make it so that the second the key is taken, they know in game and out of game that one of the players has it and it's taken and it's retrieved, but won't necessarily know how, or not how, but no one know who has it. So first of all, I don't know if you're watching, but we're just going over like the rules of a like a supposed game that we might play next week, if everyone likes it and if we can come up with a good premise for it.
Yeah, I was watching a little bit while I was setting up.
Awesome. So Tales of Condo, welcome to the stream. So that's basically just to summarize. We got a lot of people joining right now. So just to summarize again, this game would be like a spooky game where like you don't know if you can not only survive, but you don't know if you can trust the people that you're in the group with because they may find out that they don't need you after a while. So the objective of the game would be to travel to all the fortresses on the game, which there are 3, and each fortress has a different key in it: a brass key, a silver key, and a gold key. And there's only one town on the whole map, and you can rest in a town with no problem. But other than that, if you rest anywhere else, there's always some sort of risk, either from monsters or from the people in the group. When you sleep, people can steal from you or even try to kill you. So you don't really know what's going to happen. Damien Scrow, what's going on? Damien Scrow says this looks great. I was on YouTube, but I don't think you guys saw. Oh yeah, no. I'm only viewing right now on Facebook right now, because I'm home and not able to see a lot of stuff here. But I might be able to get our YouTube up. So yeah, get the 3 keys, bring the 3 keys back to the archway, and only one person can win the game and survive. And you can break up into groups. You can stay as one team. So the social element of going to sleep is going to be like the biggest and the scariest part of the game.
So if that's going to be a big part of the game, like going to the town, going to sleep, those hit points, like they have to be precious. Then I'm assuming we're going to be dealing with a very, very low amount of hit points for each person.
Yeah, I don't think the hit points should be really high. They should be just enough to get by. And I don't think I'm going to allow, in this case scenario, any wizards. I'm going to make it either a thief, a ranger, or a fighter class. So I think that might be good.
Now, when someone's going to assassinate somebody else at night, I figure I'd be the first person to ask about this particular aspect. But is it an auto kill if they go to try to kill them, or are they allowed to save in something?
So I don't know. I've been wrestling with that back and forth. I'd love to hear the opinions of people online right now and you guys. I don't know if it should be just an auto kill or only blocked by another person who could sit there and say, no, I protect them. But then that means that person that person must have been awake, therefore to protect that person anyway. But I'm not sure if it should just be, automatic, or there should be a chance. So we can discuss that definitely.
I mean, I'm preferable for a little bit of a chance, but just because that way somebody can also get their comeuppance if they decide to backstab.
Yeah. What do you guys think? What do the rest of you think?
I think there should be some chance of failure. If you try and assassinate someone in the night, it seems like it would be too unforgiving if it's just that's it. They decide to kill you, and if you don't have any defender, you're gone. So I would add some element of chance to it, and some bigger risk to the person doing the
Gotcha.
trying to do the assassination that would have consequences.
So we could. What's going to happen is
I agree with that 100%.
Yeah. So then what we can do about that is wisdom is going to play like a huge part of this game for like perhaps like well, I mean you can do stealth to dexterity over also, but it might be a smart thing to make it through like wisdom through like the sense of using your stealth and trying to get through situations, and wisdom becomes like this huge check to make you quiet. But then there's the fact of, since again there's no magic here, so strength for fighting, dexterity for evasion, your constitution for your health, charisma is going to get you discounts if you're buying weapons and armor and items, things like that. Intelligence, we'd have to see how that factors in. I'm not sure yet, but wisdom would be basically that survival aspect, and that would be right there. So if you're across the room and I want to kill player X, I gotta sneak over there with nobody seeing, and if I do it, I kill that person asleep. Everyone wakes up, and you won't even know until you watch this video back after the episode who killed you until the end.
Oh,
that's pretty interesting.
See, Scroll brings up a good point here. He says, if we're doing auto kill, would that just become the whole game? Like, is it like if we're traveling with a group, is it now, instead of like get the keys, wait till the end and fight does this become now like, let's all wait till we go to a town and wait to see who goes to sleep?
So if you go to town, there's no auto kill in the town. You're all safe. Now it's the only town on the map. Now consider the fact that if you're looking at the map, you'll see the bridges, and there may even be one more bridge. Whenever you cross a bridge, it's dangerous. You might lose a person, and it all comes down to who's the loudest and how badly, how loud are they? And then they'll just get taken by like the shadows, and they're gone. Now, there's probably all you gotta do, I would say, is think about exactly what you're thinking about right now. Is would I take the players with me to the end and then fight it out, or do I want to thin the herd out before getting there? If everyone decides the same strategy, then that's a problem, because obviously that means the game is not really working the way it should. So I guess right now, right now, the idea of playing this game with the aspect of going to sleep, you could take some people out, and would you try to get everybody to the end and then just have a brawl at the end? But then that means your winning ratio is going to be very low, because it's basically just a free for all. Anything can happen, and you have very little control. Or two, do you try to thin out the herd?
Right. So you're saying we want to find the balance between trying to take out everybody all at once and picking off people one by one, whether it's by chance on one of the bridges, or whether it's when we go to sleep and taking them out while they sleep.
Exactly. So I guess I go, discuss it, do point and counterpoint. What do you guys think?
Yeah, well, that sounds like a good idea. I think there's an inherent tension between the safety in numbers and the fact these are our opponents, so it suits you to thin out the herd, but maybe if you do, then we don't even get through the map, so that becomes something to think about.
Two questions for you, Tony, because I think I might have misunderstood something, and I want to make sure I have this right.
Sure.
So you said that number one, we're in the town. If we're sleeping in the town, then we're safe, right? So
yes,
are we sleeping at the end of every turn, or just if we're in the town or the castles?
No, you don't. No, you only have to sleep whenever you all want to sleep. Like literally in regular Dungeons and Dragons tabletop, any game tabletop, I should say. When you want to sleep, maybe maybe you want to sleep, but like someone else or the whole rest of the group doesn't want to sleep. Maybe you want to sleep, but you feel like everyone else is probably going to kill you because they see you as the weakest link, and kind of not necessarily. They want to rather get rid of you now.
So if I have a ton of hit points and if I don't want to go to sleep, I don't have to go to sleep.
No.
Right.
Okay, so then it's party decision, so it's not a force requirement. The other question that I had, you said before the person who's being the loudest when we go over the bridge is going to get taken, but now a similar question to the assassination here. Are we assuming that as soon as we go over a bridge, somebody's going to be taken and killed? Because we're going to have to cross the bridge we're going to have to cross at least 3 bridges.
No, it'll be so what it'll be is it's if, for example, like whoever triggers, for example, there'll be a number like a DC, and everyone will fail that DC, and then all the 3 of them will outroll each other to see who's the loudest, like to see who did the worst, something like that. Like everyone will trigger.
So Jason Haynes said before stealth would need to be high. I assume all of us make stealth checks, and whoever makes the lowest stealth check will be taken by the darkness. Is that right?
Yeah, it could be as simple as like I go back and forth thinking about it because it shouldn't be an auto kill. It'd probably be too much, but it could be like DC is like 3 or 5, so something very low, and then maybe every time you cross a bridge, it gets higher and higher, it gets worse and worse. So you kind of don't want to cross the bridge a lot, and then you kind of see what happens. Like if that person, if it could be based on simply if whoever fails at the worst is the person who's taken, which might be actually that probably the simplest way to do it. So if you fail, if it's a DC of 5 and A fails with a 3 and you fail with a natural 1, then obviously they would take the person who was the loudest, and that was it. They're gone.
So I have to call out Wally sorry, I'm butchering your name. Wally Waters in the chat. It sounds ideal for a monk ventriloquist, and I just absolutely love the idea of a ventriloquist skill trying to kill somebody.
Yeah, Silent Monk definitely would be good. Damien is saying, Rob, that you're a little loud.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm lowering my input a little.
How's my audio now, guys? Is mine good? Is mine okay?
See what they say. Jason is saying the stealth was for the probability for the PvP kill. So the stealth, yes, the stealth is everything. Like the whole game is about stealth. The whole game, think of A Quiet Place, because the whole game is about being quiet, because the evil and the nature is literally trying to get out and kill you. And the only sanctuary in the whole place is the town, and the fortresses will act like a half sanctuary, but they have their own dangers inside the fortresses. And when you're in there, you can do a number of things besides resting in there. You can make a run and try to loot a separate place in a dungeon. You can go after the key in there, or that's basically it. You can rest and use it as like a half sanctuary. If you try to rest out in the open somewhere, it'll be like highly probable that someone's going to go. So, yeah.
Charlie brings up a good point here. Says, so what do we got here? So as soon as you get to the tower, you get the key, or will it be based on rolls? For instance, if you're in a group, you'd all roll, and instead of saying out loud what you got, everyone just write it down, and whoever got the highest has the key, but no one knows for sure. Or if you're alone, you may or may not get the key based on like if we're there in a group, how is it decided who is actually holding the key if we get the key?
We got to figure that out. I'm not sure.
Okay.
We can make some kind of mechanic, where the maybe something about one of the people can try to get it. Maybe it's not a key and it's like an orb, or I mean it could be a key no matter what. But maybe it's something like you try to make an intelligence check to grab the key and maintain it, and don't be like kind of like a dragon orb kind of thing where you need to maintain your will over it or something like that. So maybe like people can attempt to do it, but they all can take chances to try to do that.
So you're thinking that it would come down to some kind of a roll to see like who actually possesses it?
Maybe it's an intelligence check to see who can get the key, and it comes down to that. So yeah, I have a very high wisdom, and therefore I'm sneaking around a lot. But I might lose the keys every single time. There's a battle to get the keys, and maybe everyone rolls. Maybe everyone tells me their roles and I roll for them, and I have everyone like close their eyes, something like that, and I just award the key to one person or something like that. I'm just spitballing too, so I don't know.
What about different themes? Like, and this could be randomized each time we use the map. Like you have one tower that's like a strength check, one tower that's an intelligence check, etc., and that becomes that themed key for that particular game.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea.
Say that one more time.
So we have six attributes, right? Strength, con, dex, wisdom, charisma, right? And I said that completely out of order. But
Right. Okay.
the idea would be that we have 3 towers, 3 keys on the map. So before the game starts, you might choose which of those towers is assigned which attribute, and we might not know. So we come up to the tower and we figure out, this is the charisma check tower, and we have to use charisma for the rest of the game, or the strength tower.
That's a really good idea. That's a great idea. So
Exactly. Each one is like a different challenge. There's a test of strength in one tower, a test of intelligence in another, and
That's good, yeah.
it doesn't favor one guy to boost up. Oh, this is the stat I want because it's all about getting the keys. So I'm gonna boost up this one stat.
Exactly.
I think that's a great idea too.
Yeah,
and obviously, either we don't know, or if Tony, if you want to do it the other way, you can make it a roll mechanic. You get a tower and you roll the percentage, and that's determined on that percentage is what skill it gets to, or you just choose secretly beforehand, so that way we don't know until we.
Yeah, they should totally be randomized.
Yeah, and I can just say. So here's the question. Let's say it is randomized. I randomize it, and then I bring it in. How do I actually tell you guys? Like, you try to do it, and you just grab the key, and then you see that it's actually a charisma check. Like we just announced it right there, or like how secretive and how overt is it?
I don't know if there's really any reason to be secretive about who has the key at that point, right? I mean, if we're putting like a role-playing aspect into it, and let's say like, me and Rob, we're in a tower and we're both there for the key, it's like between the two of us, I'm gonna know whether he got the key or I got the key, and he's gonna know also. So I mean, between the two of us, we could know who got the key, who has the key. But as far as like, is the rest of the party gonna know? I think that's where we need to like figure out if we want to know that.
I agree with Dan. That makes sense. Like the idea that whoever's locally, so we could do the sleep mechanic like we were talking before. Everybody can close their eyes except the people that are in the tower, and then you can point and let them know who got the key.
Oh man, this is getting crazy with the close your eyes and nobody knows. This is gonna be tough.
It's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be very tense because you're really not gonna know who you can trust.
So we can like there's like the lying aspect too. Like I could tell people that I have keys. Like follow me, I got the keys. You need me. Meanwhile, like Rob could have all the keys.
Oh, that's a good idea.
That's where it could really get cool. That's where it could get fun.
That quality to it.
So here's a question on top of that. Here's a question to that, Dan. Is if it's a physical key, they could just say, well, show me the key, because there's a role playing aspect. Someone just turns to you and say, show it to me, and if you don't have it, so and you'll say, oh, I don't want to, but who knows? But it could be a physical key, or it could be something that somebody absorbs, and then you can't prove it or disprove it.
Right. Yeah, it could be just like an orb that you absorb into your body. Absorb.
Nice.
Into your body.
Nice.
Now, I missed a little bit of the beginning. So is this battle royale, or is it like a group adventure? Or...
It's both. Remember you were saying you missed role play. You wanted some role play in it.
Right. Yeah.
This is D&D Royale with role play.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah. So, let's see. Charlie Lewis said it before. You might have said it before, Dan. Let me just read it. So as soon as you get to the tower, you get the key, or will it be based on rolls? For instance, you're in the group, you'd roll, and instead of saying out loud where you got, everyone just write it down, and whoever got the highest has the key, but no one knows for sure. Or if you are alone, you may or may not. Yes. So Charlie brings up a great point. It could be something where everyone, I don't know. There's so many ways you could do this, and they're all fun too. It could be something where everyone's going through and you're all searching for it, and then I just give a note to somebody and say, "Okay, you got it." And one person is like, "Oh, I got a sword. I got this," and I go, "You got the key." And then it's almost like everyone turns around and maybe like the altar lights up, and it's like, okay, we know someone's got the key. And then what do you do about it? Because no one fesses up. Actually, the key should be physical, maybe, because then it's like, well, no one wants to announce they have the key, so you don't have a power play in reverse or one way or the other. Thoughts?
Wait, say that again?
I was going to say before that, maybe you don't want to, maybe you want to make the key like a non-physical absorption item, but maybe because we're thinking about how you find the key, like if there probably will be a monster, that you kill or something like that, or a challenge, but maybe it's like everyone's searching and they're all opening different chests in like some kind of room, and someone will get the key, but no one knows who picks it up. And then it comes down to the fact where it's up to you. Like, so you could say, "Oh well, yeah, everybody, I got the key. Follow me." And if you want to show them, do it. So that is a sense of power you've just done, and you now have people trusting you and getting behind you, but you've also put a target on your back.
Wait a second. What about this?
Sorry.
Go ahead, Vin.
Well, I was going to say, what if it's both? What if it's something that you can hide or show?
You can.
Something like
exactly.
You said, like an orb.
Exactly. It's a physical key. And if you want to pull out your pocket, or maybe no one claims it, and you all know that, like, okay, someone here is obviously lying, but no one is saying they got it. You'd have to literally kill that person, fight that person, whatever you want to do.
No, I think I'm saying it a little bit wrong. I'm sorry. I like the idea you were talking about the orb that someone can show. So the idea is you couldn't pickpocket them. If you want to take the key from them, the orb or whatever it is, you have to kill them. But they can decide to show you that they have the key.
So it could be either.
So what if you, as the DM, you're not only deciding like what we need to do in each tower to get the key, but like these can be like all different variables. Like if we get the key, maybe in Tower 1, this time it's an orb that gets absorbed into us. But in Tower 2, it's a physical key that we can show people. So now like that adds even more to the role-playing aspect. So like if I run into Vin and Vin says, "Hey, did you get the key from the last tower?" and I got nothing, but I want him to think that I have a key, I'll just say like, "Oh yeah, it was an orb. I absorbed it."
If it's absorbed, though, what happens if the person who absorbed it dies? How do you get it to get back to the portal out?
The orb should probably the orb can like cover over the body.
Oh yeah.
And the next person can absorb it.
All right.
So a key can be stolen or transferred, but an orb can't.
Here's a question for you too.
Right.
If you kill someone with a key and they drop it, do you have to pass the check to pick it up and control it, or is it just once it's out of the tower, it's fair?
We can probably say, I think we can go either way, but we can say that
you maybe just get it. If you're lucky enough to stumble upon a dead body with the key, you can just take it.
Hey, yeah, I would say it just stays with the dead body, and then whoever happens to come across that seems to make the most sense.
So maybe it's an orb, it's a key, and then what could the third one be? Let's make it different.
Okay, we could. Now I was going to say we can theme it to the check. So if it's like a strength thing, maybe it's a weight. If it's a dex, I don't know what the dex would be. The wisdom might be the orb. The intelligence might be but that might be a little bit stagnant if we're trying to random.
Yeah, I don't think that's dynamic enough. Maybe because the key is a physical item, that's cool. The orb is what do you call, like something you absorb?
A ring.
Or maybe it's a secret word that I tell somebody. A ring?
Actually, I have
a ring.
I have a better.
Hey,
not necessarily better. Hey, Phil.
Hey, Phil.
What's up, dudes?
We got some good ideas.
What's up, Phil?
I just tuned in, so I'm kind of just like trying to figure it out.
Actually, Tony, what if you make it also, along with being a random attribute, what if you make it a random item so nobody knows what it is? And that way someone could actually use the charisma and try to bluff it. So I could go there and say, okay, I have the strength thing, and look, it's this ring, like Phil was saying, and they might not know that they actually don't have the key.
I wouldn't see, normally the Dungeons & Dragons tabletop, I would I would say, yeah, we could do that, do bluffing and everything else. But I think that the charisma, bluffing, and lying, and diplomacy and negotiation should all be to NPCs, because I want you guys to use your real charisma to
Yeah,
bluff.
that's what's gonna make this fun, just like werewolf.
Right.
Dude, we have some
But we don't have to make
some. Sorry.
we don't have to make it a charisma check, but I mean, like you said, use it the personal thing. So you can write it down, say, and give it to the person who got the orb or got the key or whatever it is, and say, you got a key, it's a blue key, or you got an orb, or you got a dagger, or you got a ring, or something of that nature. Nobody else knows what the key is, they just know that somebody has the key. So it'd be up to me or Dan or Phil or Rob or somebody to bluff our way out of the situation and say, we have this key or we don't. And only after they die, maybe it lights up again or something like that.
Also, just to kind of take this further, and again, we're just brainstorming. It's the whole point of this session right here. There's a lot of good comments coming up too. I'm going to read some of these comments in a second. Perhaps, like, I don't know. Perhaps, like, should it be like the key and the orb and everything else are used in like the last second? Like, here it is, guys. Whoever's got the 3 things, do it. Or should there be a point, like, say you're looking at the map right now. If you check the map, you see the left hand side has the bridge. Just to kind of give a mechanic. What if like someone has to insert the key on the bridge to cross the last bridge, just as an idea, and at the same time they know that their usefulness is gone the second they do? Or should it just be all at the end, the very, very last end stage? So what are you guys thinking about that? Let's go through some of these comments. Scott Weber, what's going on? Scott Weber says loot drop would be good.
Yeah. Loot drop for sure.
Yeah. Jason Haynes says once it drops, it's fair. We agree. Definitely, Jason. Scott Walton says welcome to Phil. How's it going? Derek Luxton says the mirror could be the only item that would let a person who knows who has the hidden key. There definitely should be items that allow other secret things, like he's saying. That's a perfect idea. Like if you get this item, you can ask the DM who has the key, and you will know. Meanwhile, they're lying to you. They think that you don't know, and meanwhile, you know exactly.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, Derek Luxton had a good comment. He was saying something like, what does it say? In the town, there could be a place that has a mirror, and the mirror tells you about one other player who has a key. So that's like that adds a whole other element too.
Oh, we
so
can
I may actually know who has a key, and I could use that knowledge, or I could make believe that I have that knowledge and try to bluff.
So what you can do is you can go. You know what? We'll make it like maybe you go see like a monk, or you go see like a psychic. Like a tarot card reader, or and she tells you. You can ask her like any kind of question, she'll tell you the answer, and she charges you like 10 gold, something expensive, but you get to find out who has this, who has that.
Yeah.
I like that too. Also, Tony, regarding that last bridge, I did have one thing to add to that. What if you have one of the keys, orbs, whatever these items are, these particular items, what if you can pass over the bridges safely? And it also calls a bluff, because if you have to go over the bridge and you're saying you have a key and you don't, you might get pulled off by the shadow.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. That might be a kind of, either might be unnecessary, or it might ruin people's plans, because then now we're kind of stomping on the social play. You're saying that every bridge could out them, but do we want them to be outed? Isn't it more fun if they get outed because someone either had to kill them or trust them?
Well, that was the idea of you saying you needed the bridge key to get there, to get across it at the end.
I was saying more like, I was just using that bridge as an example, like that maybe there's something near the end that like they have to, like I put a wall up and there's a door, and the door can only be opened up with the key. And then you're moving it, you're in the end game, but you're in like the last 3 phases, and every time a phase ends, in that very, very tip end of the game, like this person runs, they use their key. Now you don't need them anymore. So what happens? Like there's something like that. That's just my idea, or it could be all at once.
Well,
we may have to change. Like, go ahead.
I was gonna say the only thing I think about that is if I had that key, I would never use it, because I would make you give up your key, because otherwise I'm useless.
Well, no, we would.
I think that's when you got to fight.
Right, exactly. So we're gonna get to that door, and that's gonna be where the fight is. All we're doing is moving where that fight is.
Yeah, and I like the idea of that it's not like you have to have all three at the very final stage. It's like it opens it up right for that end game scenario where now the guy with the key and everything's been unlocked, and now it's kind of anyone can theoretically win, even if they haven't collected anything up until that point. So there's that strategy of kind of maybe laying low, hanging, and just trying to be the guy who slips through at the end.
Derek says, what if the last key was actually a person and they had to be sacrificed? At the very end, the person who holds the last two keys, having the two keys will tell you who is the last key. That's savage.
Yeah,
Well,
that's brutal.
That is, but at the same time, is that assuming if the person who has the two key, who is the third key, has the two keys, do they get to go through without sacrificing themselves?
Yeah, but maybe this, I don't know. The sacrifice may be, maybe like 1 foot over the line that we don't have to do. But it's a really good idea because I like the fact that it makes it like a little cutthroat. What someone gave me an idea. Should there in fact be more keys and orbs than needed? Like maybe like maybe you need like an orb. Maybe you need an orb to get into the final gateway, but you need the people with the keys to get through like the things before that or something like that. So maybe there's and you don't know who has keys. Maybe there's more keys in the game than just the 3 or 2 needed. Maybe there's a couple of more,
So like you need 3 keys to get through the portal, but maybe there's like 6 keys or 7 keys scattered around the board.
I do like that.
Yeah, that could open up the play a little bit, which could be good. It's not so much like everybody's just focused on the one person they think has the keys or something.
Right. Scott,
you could go your
Are
own
we
way.
are we making changes to the movements?
to the movements, it's the same as we do in D&D Royale.
All right. I mean, do you think that there's a chance that with all these changes, like the game would be long?
No, the movements won't be as. This map, if you notice, is a little bit simpler, so you'll probably move a little bit further, and the mechanics of movement will be simpler because it's not really targeted as like a heavy PvP versus each other. It's more of like a betrayal game.
Okay,
And
that's pretty cool.
Will there be less time, I guess, spent on searching? Will we start with more full equipment? And
I think everyone will probably start with the starter item: a sword, a bow, a dagger, or something like that. Real quick, guys, just want to say thank you to Scott Weber for 500 stars. It's awesome.
Woo, thank you, Scott. Scott, hey.
As always, he's bribing me, and he says random wandering gypsy caravan on map with old crone fortune teller. Ask 3 yes or no questions. Must be answered honestly.
That's a good idea.
Yeah,
so you can say like, does
that.
Rob have a key? There were some other good ideas. Scott had a good idea earlier on. Scott and Derek were saying like they were kind of suggesting that when you go to the tower to get the key, like you and like maybe it's a roll, maybe it's a strength roll, maybe it's a charisma roll, but maybe it's just like some kind of a random challenge that you as the DM comes up with. Like what if it's just like the dice stacking thing?
not dice stacking again, no.
Yeah, just as like a random dumb idea, or it's like like come up with a song and sing a song right now and you get the orb. But that could add like another like cool role playing aspect or cool puzzle solving challenge to it.
Little random challenges. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
It could be. That then takes it away from the aspect of it's based on one of your stats, because basically now it's not based on like your charisma or your intelligence. Nothing to do with your character stats.
Right. It's just a role playing thing.
This could also be different themes. Again, we could try these different things out each week, see which ones, like you have different seasons in these games, like Fortnite and whatnot. We could have a different game mode, for lack of a better term, that we're playing.
I guess we'll have to think about it, which would be good. I mean, if it's something silly, that might take away from the play. Although, I mean, obviously, sometimes being fun, doing jokes part of the game.
The other thing, by the way, I saw Derek Luxton before suggested something as part of his idea, but it would be interesting at his last thing. He said this would encourage players to work together to the end, but being suspicious of everyone else. The person who is the key might not even know who they are, referring to the idea of having like the third person be the key. But what if when we're getting the keys, to go back to this, I'm sorry to go right back to this topic here, but what if when you're getting the keys, multiple people in the area, again, nobody knows who has the key, including the person who has the key?
I think the person who has the key should know. I think they should know. Because then it just becomes no one knows the value of anybody, and then everyone's lying, and you're back to zero, and then the game is kind of like you don't even really need to play the game to a certain degree. There should be a sense of balance shifting, so that people are triggering their emotions and their nervousness. So you want to have a sense of someone's in the group, they have a key. I know someone's lying to me. I don't know who, and that and therefore like, that creates it.
It's the werewolf factor to it.
Right.
Like
right.
I know I'm a werewolf, but you don't know I'm a werewolf. I could tell you he's a werewolf. He could tell you I'm a werewolf. Same thing with the keys. Nobody, like whoever has the key knows they have the key, and they could just choose whatever they choose to do with that information, wherever they want to do.
Right.
Well, it goes back to the idea, though. The only counterpoint I'll make to this, and I'll move on from it, but the tension sort of changes a little bit if nobody knows who it is, right? Because you can go to the town like we were talking about and get the mirror and try to figure it out. So Dan, if you and I went into a tower together and we rolled and we know somebody got the key, but we don't know which one of it, the tension becomes, do I just try to betray you to be guaranteed that I'm the one with the key? Or do I try and wait again and hold out for the last minute, knowing that like you might have the key and I might not?
But the fact that no one knows, you lose a great aspect of the game. You lose it from the gameplay to each other, and you lose it from the idea of the people watching at home, because you want to watch the person try to squiggle their way out of a tight situation and knowing that they have the power to something. Yep. I think that's a huge element lost.
Yeah, plus like the decision that you're making here is that let's say the two of us go to a tower, you get the key and I know. Like you have the key, I know you have the key. Now the decision that we're making is, do we want to work together to get to the portal together without one of us dying, or do we want to choose to pick each other off and lose the advantage we have working together just to get to the portal?
Yep. Sounds good.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's probably the best the aspect of the game, and the reason why we made it up. To take that away would kind of be getting rid of the spooky factor or the trust factor. You want to know somebody knows they have a card on you, and then they're maneuvering things around the board, and let them try to fail epically or succeed epically. So when you go into these towers, as of right now, we have the fortune teller was a great thing. I think the fortune teller will go into the city, and then there'll be wandering monsters. Anytime you move in that map, there's probably going to be a chance for monsters to attack. And then in the fortresses, we have the orb, we have the key. It still would be awesome to have something that's just a little bit different, like a third kind of category that feels very different than those two. The orb, you would absorb it. The key, you would have in your pocket. And then whatever that third one is would be a cool thing if you could figure that out.
Should the items that are these special items, should they have any powers or anything that they bestow on the person?
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. I worry too much about it on balancing the game. I mean, I think I like the idea of it giving them something, but if it becomes like, oh, they get a big advantage, then it might not be.
Well, it might help with the idea again of playing with that balance. Like, okay, if you and I are in a tower and one of the keys is there and I'm the thief and it boosts my dex, well, maybe that'll help us both when we're trying to get back to the portal. So again, it becomes that balance of how long do I want to let you live, knowing that you have this advantage, but knowing that advantage will help me get where I need to be.
Derek Luxton says here, I'm reading for the first time now, how about the person who has the key is the only person who knows, and that's what we have so far, and it's also the only key that cannot be tracked, except by someone paying the fortune teller's price to know. So no one would know right now, as we have the rules set up, no one would know who has the key unless they're gonna search you, forcefully or whatever, or kill you. So, and then if someone goes to the fortune teller and asks, you can ask yes no questions, pay 10 gold, for example, and say, does this person have the key? Everyone close their eyes, and the DM says, nods his head yes or no, and you can find the information, and then you know who you got to go after later, or who you're going to follow later, and they don't know if you know, but we got to see.
But that was if you weren't there when they got the key, because we're gonna know if we're there when if multiple people are at the tower.
We were saying that before, but I actually think that maybe it should be just to be situational, like how it is. Like if somebody's not there, if you're all opening chest and you roll perception, you don't know who made it. It could just be situational regular Dungeons and Dragons tabletop, where did you see it? Did your character perceive it? If they did, they know. And if they don't, they don't. That's one way we could do it. If not, we can make it that it always goes in, that you always walk in, and maybe because of what situation it is, nobody knows who quite got it. I like the idea of everyone not knowing who got it, and you have to trust the people, because again, that's at the heart of this game. It should be a social negotiation, diplomacy, betrayal game. Thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with that part, that we know, you have to kind of trust the people, and you just want to know for sure who has the keys. I think that's a good idea.
Did someone just cough?
Yes, someone did.
I coughed for a second.
Oh my god.
Oh no.
Uh-oh. Okay, so we have that down. The only place you can buy items in this game is in that town. And do you guys think that I think I might remove that bridge on the left and place a bridge on the top and have it so that you start in the bottom left quadrant with a fortress right there, that you might say, like, oh, I'm gonna go right for the fortress, or maybe we need to build up and go to the city and then go to that fortress, because it might be cool that once you cross that bridge to the right into the like the whole right side quadrant, you're there, and if you want to go back to the town, you have to risk it. And when you get those two fortresses done, you would swing all the way up to the top left and go into that last quadrant up top to go into the portal. Or should it be like it is now, where you go fortress, you have to swing all the way back through? That means you're double crossing that bridge back through the town. What do you guys think about the flow?
Actually, I was wondering if it might be, you were mentioning before the idea of putting an additional bridge instead of removing the one on the left, putting an additional bridge on the top. I almost think the idea of putting the additional bridge on the top and perhaps starting us somewhere between two towers will force us to make a choice. Do we want to split up? Do we want to stay together? Like if you start in the bottom middle, or even in the town, do we all want to go to that nearby tower to the right? Do we want to split up and somebody goes to the left? It will sort of create a little reason for us to not only stick together because of the challenges, but also potentially separate.
So maybe I can add that bridge to the top, so everyone can go any direction they want, and then you can kind of choose which way you're going to go. You could theoretically start in a town.
Right, because then the other way around, if you start in the lower left, like you were talking about before, and remove the bridge on the left, we know the flow of the game. We know everybody's going to go to the tower, the second tower. The only reason you would go to the third tower before the second tower is because you don't think you could get to the second tower and succeed.
So you like the idea of just like bridges connecting every area, so they can walk around a circle any direction they want.
Because that gives us the motivation to both split up or stay together. Like either way, that motivation to stay together is because we want to party up and make sure we have that safety in numbers. The reason to split up is to run to someplace and hopefully guarantee yourself a key and the possibility of getting.
Okay. Okay, so let's go over. So when you guys go into Scott Weber, thank you so much. 500 stars. He said,
Hey, thank you, Scott.
He says, aha, ooh, I got it. The third thing. 1 orb, 2 key, 3 unlimited wish scroll that only allows you to steal 1 item from another player.
Oh, items that allow you to steal. That's good.
Yeah, I agree. I'd like to steal.
I like that. That's like a Mario Party aspect, kind of.
Yes,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
is. Phil, you still with us?
Yes, I am here.
You like the Mario Party goodness?
I do love the Mario Party business.
Charlie says maybe there's a chance no one gets the key. It could be based on a high enough roll. So if no one in a group rolls high enough, the next group still has a chance. If no one knows who has the key besides DM, that means at the end, seeing only one can survive it will be a fight to the death. But if it turns out no one got all the keys, it will be super difficult for the last standing to get the missing item back. 1 or nothing. That could be good as long as it doesn't make the game like double the length, because we're trying to just circle around a lot of times and make a lot of progress, or make a lot of simulated progress, and then find out you weren't really doing anything. No one really knows what so if no one in one group rolls high enough, the next group still has a chance. Isn't a chance no one's going to I guess that works as long as they know like who has it or not. But then theoretically they would just stay there in a tower and keep trying to find it. The tower wouldn't clear. So yeah, I don't know. That's something to think about. Let's see. Todd says, I feel like both could be useful, honestly, but I'd have to be like a roll check. I agree. Scott Weber says, devious hand rubbing, of course. Derek Luxton says, that's a good idea. You can make a wish, but at the expense of losing the key. Oh, like the... So he's
That's
saying...
tough.
But if
Right,
you
so
need 3 keys, they have to be more than 3 keys to make that an idea, because otherwise you're losing a key and you can't exit.
We did say before that we can add it, make it actually or more keys or more items than needed. But then what would be worth? Maybe you could sacrifice the key to, like, I don't know, at the town to trade in, and you can hire like an assassin to kill somebody.
But I don't. If you need keys for the end game, if you need keys to get through the portal and win, there's really nothing worth giving up a key for.
Unless you got 2.
But I need 3.
Well, there's another thing too. Like, what if somebody else has 3, or you think somebody else has 3? They're heading towards the exit, and you're so far behind you can't catch up. If you use this to like teleport to catch up.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So it's got to be like desperation then. If you're willing to give up a key, you're desperate.
Now,
I don't know if we could do teleportation, because that would probably break the game a little bit if you could teleport. The whole thing about this game is that it must be hard to move around, and then if you do that, one person's it'll turn into where everybody just chasing one player around the map.
Here's another question. If I'm the only person left on the map, right? Let's say I have my 3 keys and I'm heading to the portal, everyone else is dead. If I go over that last bridge, is there a chance that I'll be taken away by the darkness?
Yes.
And nobody wins?
As of right now, yeah.
Yeah, and I like that idea that it's possible for the whole group to lose, because then there's this like trade-off. In the end, we want somebody to win. Almost, I feel like it's.
Yeah, I think this should always be a winner.
But I think it could be a chance that nobody does. It could be interesting. Like, we want there to be a winner, but there's that risk that no one gets through in the end.
I like the concept of an unclaimed throne for the week.
I like the aspect that everyone can die too, because that's like tabletop. Everyone can lose. Derek Luxton says, this is mostly a joke, but gaining control of all 3 keys could release something like an astral dreadnought, seeking to destroy the portal. It would be get through the portal before it's destroyed. The players could occasionally see or hear hints of it within the void. Interesting.
Astral Dreadnought, yeah.
Derek, I was liking you very much until you just got Tony to say interesting to something that will basically destroy.
Kill us all. If I could get back to the flow issue for a second, Tony. And you talk about putting another bridge up at the top of the map. I think I like the idea of kind of it being kind of like this journey where we all are kind of traveling through it together, but there's going to be points where, okay, does the party split up? Do they stay together? At what point do they break up? So I think I like the idea of it kind of, to an extent, at least in the early part, kind of railroading us through. Maybe we do start in that top left, and you're not allowed to cross the top bridge. You have to go down to the bottom left quadrant. Kind of seeing how long kind of the party can stay together before it all breaks apart. I think could be an interesting component.
Yeah, and that's where it is. Like we want that middle ground between like the party wants to work together, but there's also going to be in their mind like, well, maybe this is a good time for us not to work together, and maybe I don't know, maybe if there's a way to make it appetizing for, I guess Phil Castellano, you should probably take this. Is a pull up right now, everybody.
Since you're definitely going to kill everybody, go ahead. Why don't you tell us how you feel about that, Phil?
Wait,
what I was going to say is that Phil, if Phil could see a way to go out on his own and to his benefit, Phil is the most like lone wolf person probably in this room. So, Phil, do you see a lone wolf mechanic that could be added to the game that makes you go like, no, I should go by myself, try to get into the things and do it there, and then I can win the game without anybody else, and therefore I don't have to rely on anybody. But also, it's going to be risky because every time you need to rest, you have nobody to watch you back, and there's a lot of downs around it too. Is there anything you can think of?
The only thing I can think of is, so you need 3 keys to go through the portal. That's the gist of it right now.
Where we're at right now, but that could change.
So what about? So I believe someone mentioned this earlier, but like the allure of like each key granting the owner more power.
I really don't like that idea, because I mean, if we're thinking about it in game, then like if I'm with you and we're both in a tower, right? Or like let's say there's a group of us and we're supposed to not know who has the key. If all of a sudden like you're like casting off additional spells, or if all of a sudden like you're hitting for much harder damage, like in game I should know if all of a sudden like you're more powerful now,
Well, yeah, that 100%. But at the point, if I'm more powerful, I kind of don't give a crap if you do know that.
But we're supposed to care if everybody else knows. Like, we don't want everybody to know. Like, we only want people to know if we have a key if we let them know.
Yeah, just going back to that idea, Tony, you had earlier about that sort of hidden role, that sort of werewolfy mechanic.
Yeah, it's tricky. I don't know. I mean, so it is tricky because the question, I guess you have to go back to the first question and definitively answer it. What do you need to win the game? And what of those items, what is needed to get you there? Like maybe I don't know, maybe like imagine the gateway is in like a walled area with a door on the outside, and the door only opens with 3 keys. So maybe you're banking on the fact that the players have, enough keys, and you're like, I'm going to use my key, and I'm gonna go into the town, and I'm going to sell the key to, a merchant, or I'm going to give it to a wizard and cast a spell with it because it's so powerful. So that aspect could be there. So really it comes down to the winning of the game. What's the aspect?
Well, then if we're going with keys are that common that we're going to be able to sell them just to get an effect off, where are these keys coming from? Are we looting the towers multiple times? Are there more towers?
Right. Well, we started. I had it that you just every tower had 1 key, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's a few more ways to get keys, or but I do think it has to be that once a tower is cleared, it's cleared.
And
what are you gonna say, Phil?
No, I was gonna say you could take like a page from like the Ready Player One like book, like where like a tower gives a key to whoever goes there for a key.
But then that means everybody would have the key, and then the game becomes that like every player has the same thing.
Yeah, but then it becomes who gets to the door first.
Yeah, then that takes away like the werewolf role-playing aspect that we're
trying
to capture.
Yeah, we lose something. Maybe there should be. Okay, how about this?
I think we're going over the fact that we're trying to fit in all these different extra elements, and maybe we need to look back at the original state, the idea that there's only 3 keys on the map. That limited aspect forces both people to rush to get the keys to get out, and has that werewolfy aspect. By adding in all these extra keys, it might be overcomplicated.
Yeah, I'm starting to think that too. Maybe just keep it simple, just 3, and that's it.
So maybe I have a couple ideas in my head going on right now. So here's one aspect. When you get to these fortresses, going off of what Vin just said, there's actually only like 3 keys in the map, say, which is, we'll run that for a second. Maybe when the fortress is open, it's only open for a certain amount of rounds, and that's it. And the fortress is going to close, and it's going to clear no matter what. And maybe people can spend their time either working as a group in a couple different ways, and you choose your path while in the fortress. So maybe like 2 people go, I'm gonna go for the key, and two other people say, I'm gonna go and look for, into their treasure room. Maybe there's a treasure room in everyone, and it has these incredibly powerful items, which can do all these other different things. So you can go through it, and maybe that's secret. People only don't know who does what, and you only know if you're successful or fail. And if you went into the key, maybe that we decide who gets the key. And if you went to get the powerful items, then we'll get the powerful items. And then one person is preparing to attack the person later in the future, or you're trying to play the game straight. You follow me or no?
Yeah, I think the whole idea would be, if you're going for a crazy powerful item, then you're loading up to kill someone who has keys.
Right. You're either looting it or you're going to go for the key.
Yeah.
The only problem with the time limit aspect of this, I see what you're getting with the time limit aspect, because you want the limited choices. The problem with the time limit aspect is if you're putting it, like saying this tower will only be available for 4 rounds, there's no way we're ever going to split up, because we just won't have time.
Well, you would split up there. You'd have to.
No, I meant in getting to the tower. Like, in other words, we're all going to go to the first tower because it's only available for 4 rounds.
No. The tower wouldn't be available for 4 rounds. It's only once the door opens to the tower, it only stays open for a certain amount of time.
Oh, I see.
We could even do something where, like, everybody tries to do whatever they're going to try to do in the fortress, get the keys, everything else, and maybe it's like a time run. Maybe it's like a gauntlet that I make, where it's like you're trying to go through, and maybe you're able to get to the key. And then if you have more time, you get something else, or you get out of the dungeon. If you don't get out in time, maybe you're trapped in a dungeon forever. Maybe it's like a game of chance. Kind of going with the whole idea that everything's always scary, everything's always a risk.
It is weird to try and find the lone wolf aspects. It's like I'm not seeing any positive side to splitting off from the.
So you would see aspect only positively going in as a smaller team, or like the whole team.
Like the whole team. Like, why wouldn't the whole team just stick together the whole time and just?
You kind of have to. It seems like.
I don't see a point. I don't see a point in going off on your own in this kind of game scenario.
So that's not good. So how do we fix that?
So I did a poll, by the way, and everyone says that no, that there shouldn't be a clear winner.
Right. So that means that everyone could die on the bridge at the end, and that's it. The whole game could lose, which
Right.
I love. I love that.
I like the possibility of it. I just don't want to. The one thing I wouldn't want to see as both sides of the spectrum here is that being a very common thing.
I don't think that would be, because again, it's not going to be like a very high chance of being killed on bridges. That's just it could happen.
I'm just saying overall. I'm not saying whatever method is chosen. Like, it shouldn't be like every week there's no win. Sort of like in pro wrestling, when they do the double count outs or the double disqualifications. It's not something that's done every week. It's like a once in a while.
Yeah. Let's see what people saying here. Charlie Lewis says maybe you not only get keys from each tower, but different loot, and only 3 towers have keys. So there's three towers there now. Maybe you not only. Maybe there's 1 key between all the towers.
Wait, you know what? What if we're not thinking about one other thing? What if we make this not like What if we make this a team game? What if it's like a 3-on-3?
Or 2v2v2.
If it's 3-on-3 though, then it kind of kills the aspect of the trust thing because you have too many people on your side.
Yeah, then we lose the whole werewolf aspect of the game, the whole role playing aspect.
Maybe-
I think I missed that part. What do you mean by the werewolf aspect?
So what's going to happen? There's a whole mechanic in the game where like you're not going to get. There's no way to get hit points in this game unless you rest. So Phil, you're seeing the screen? Are you looking at it?
I'll.
So while he's doing that, Todd says
I see it.
if the movement allows, maybe the portal can open after all 3 keys are acquired or activated, and then the portal closes after a certain amount of times. That's a really good idea, Todd. And you have to get through it, making you choose between fighting to be the only one remaining or just winning in general, and makes people think about their positioning more. It also means that somebody could just go stand by the portal and just wait for everyone to also do everything.
I was thinking of that, but then there's also you could make the aspect like the random encounters. Then if you're just going to hang out by yourself the whole time, like the odds are you'll get killed in a random encounter. Whereas if you stay together, you can support them. I think maybe we should, regarding like the winners, maybe it can be like not just about you'll have one winner if someone gets off, but maybe multiple people can. So it's not just about winning. It's like getting off the island in general. So even if you're the second off, that's not great. You didn't win, but it's like somewhat of an accomplishment. So there's this goal partly to just get off the island, and you maybe want to be the first one to do it, but it makes it more like we are a team and we're getting through, and there's some rivalry between us about who could be the first through, but there's also just a general desire to just survive and be able to run the gauntlet.
Or we could like piggybacking on that, Rob, maybe we could put like random like in the towns, in the towers, in the plant, wherever, some random encounters, random puzzles, whatever, random items to pick up that are worth different amounts of points. And maybe we could just say the keys are worth the most amount of points, and you have to have all 3 keys to get out.
Kind of. I was thinking something like that too. The game I was almost looking at is the new Fireball Island is the game I'm thinking about as we're looking at this map.
That's what I was thinking too. So like, whereas if you don't have the keys, if you collect enough loot that's worth points, you still have a chance to win, but you still have that aspect of you need the keys to get out of there, and you add in also like it's not just one person winning.
But the thing is, also at the same time, you're making it more like a point system win rather than the real aspect of you guys gonna be playing in role play.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, so you lose that role playing real aspect. Like, well, you walk before me, but I have more keys. And it should just be like, no, I killed everybody, or I made it, or I did whatever and I won. So, I think whatever is left to figure out really comes down to the fortresses, how many keys are there, and also every fortress should be like obviously a big chance for loot. So I think maybe a dungeon run would be interesting. I like what Todd said, that like maybe so maybe this is a different way of playing it. Like maybe keys actually open the fortresses. Maybe you're around the map trying to get a key, and then if you go to the fortress, you get to open a fortress for a limited time. And if you open the fortress with the key, it opens up for like, I don't know, whatever, say it's 5 rounds. And then when you're in there, you can battle to get the orb or whatever it is inside. Maybe the keys are just like to get you into the fortresses, and then that gives you power. I mean, people want to take you out because you have the key or whatever. Or maybe they want to trap you inside the fortress.
I like the idea before that we had come up with a key or an orb. Keys or orbs can be collected to open up the portal. So like I think that adds a lot to the role playing. Where like if you want to flash your key and be like, "Hey, I got a key, don't tell anybody," or if you want to bluff and just say like, "Hey, I have an orb inside me for the."
So you think it changes it, because even though the only change would be that the keys open the fortresses just a step before and get you into the last part.
But I don't get what that adds to the game though.
So it's like it devalues the keys, but you could have more keys or a finite amount of keys, but it almost like you want to try to battle to find the keys and then get to the chance to get in, and then you can keep people like out of the fortress and like kind of ruin their opportunity to get the stuff inside.
But now that's going to become Fortress Rush the game, not the secret role.
That's okay. You see, yeah, I guess you were saying it's changed the aspect of the game. Jason Haynes says, or vice versa. Todd says, yeah, make a definite encounter near the portal. Yes, so there should be a big bad guy you have to fight near the portal. So if you camp, then you're gonna get destroyed by that enemy, or maybe there's a bad guy running around that area, like he's just sitting there waiting for people, like a guard.
Or the bad guys activated when all 3 keys are picked up.
Oh yeah, he could be activated. That's good too. Jason says, or vice versa, you need all the players to secure the first key, and then work backwards down to 1. Backwards down to 1.
I think in other words, like the first key requires all 6 of us, and then the next key requires 5, 4, 3.
Oh, I see.
And the last key becomes solo. The problem with that becomes, what if somebody dies on the way?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's cool to see like you could try any challenge, but less or more, just depending how smart you are. Todd says, I see what you're saying. Get better gear, whatever. It may be to make it easier to get across to the portal without dying. Jason says, so 6 to get the first, 3 to get the second, 2 to get the last. It keeps PvP alive. I would say I would say what we were just talking about. Charlie Lewis says 200 stars. Thank you so much, Charlie. Appreciate that.
Hey, thank you, Charlie.
She says, so many great ideas, no matter how it ends up being played. I'm excited for this spooky type role play. Awesome. Thank you so much, Charlie. And Scott Weber says each city is only one city, but each city has chance for a role play challenge, whether puzzle, side mission, moral dilemma that gives a key. That's interesting. That would be good if we were doing the thing where you get keys to open up the fortresses. People are just trying to do things to get the keys to the fortress.
Here's a question for you, Tony. That 2 map elements that we have there. Somebody mentioned earlier, there's what looks like a little tower or something to the right of the portal. What exactly is that supposed to be? And then what is the cave to the left of the portal?
I was thinking about an element where like you go into the dungeon and you get like thing originally. So I left it on the map because I was just thinking about it, and that tower is just something I didn't remove. I was thinking about just how I was going to build that little area over there. So both items are things that are up in the air.
There's two thoughts. Number one, if you did the idea where we start in the upper left area, that could be a reason to stay together or split apart. Is do we want to take the chance of going into that dungeon to get extra loot before we go around the board, or do we just want to race to get the key?
You know what it could do is, so if you think of that top left area as the final area, right, and that's where you see these giant bosses going around, just for fun, I could put that's a gold mine in there, and you can take a risk to run in there and get gold early on the game, and then get out of there, and then run back to the town. It should be a huge like gold grab, and then try to get to the town and buy a bunch of cool items and stuff. So it'll be like an idea of somebody to go there much earlier in the game and use that part of the map. Just it's kind of like a fun feature.
Yeah, that could be interesting.
So you definitely have to think about. Yeah. So I'm sorry. So before Phil, we were saying that the mechanic of the game is really based on the fact that it's hard to get hit points back. The only way you can get hit points back without any kind of risk is doing it in town resting, which means you're resting in your own room and you're not at any kind of risk of somebody killing you in your sleep. If you try to rest outside, the risk is very high you're going to get attacked, and there's probably even a risk for being killed unless you have a party with you, like someone watching your back. And then there's a better chance to rest, but not a great one, in the fortresses that you find like a small corner of the fortress, and like you're resting in there quietly, trying to avoid any kind of monsters or bad guys that are inside. The whole aspect, what happened is every time you guys rest, you guys close your eyes, everyone, and then I go around a table and I say, okay, anybody who's not going to sleep, open your eyes. Now the people who are sleeping keep their eyes closed, anytime anyone opens their eyes, that means they're up and awake. They gain no hit points. So maybe when somebody's awake, they try to steal something, or they try to kill somebody in the group while they're awake.
Oh.
So
That's a pretty cool aspect.
yeah. So like, and the games should. I want the game to revolve around that feeling of like, you have to trust these people, but it's one of those adventures where you have to trust them, and you would like to trust them more. And how much should you trust them? How much do you rely on them? So,
That's
Todd
cool.
says makes me think of the Soul Stone from Endgame. Yes. Yep. Scott Weber says city test. Each city rest equals city rest. Each city rest equals a role play challenge. And that's that.
So Tony, actually, building on that idea, I mean, I know Scott really likes his role play challenges right now, but I think it's actually might be a decent idea to, if we're going to go with the idea that there's more than 3 keys, if you, some event, whether it's a city rest or something like that, maybe a random chance, you can get a goal that would be like a side quest sort of thing, something to accomplish, one task, whatever it is that you can give, or it could be something sort of along the lines of the other game that you guys have with the Escape the Dungeon, where everybody makes up a goal ahead of time, but they're randomized. And the idea is that goal might be given to us at random, and it would be something we have to accomplish, but in return, we'd get an extra key. But there's that thing where if you're working with other people, how do you convince them to help you to work towards your goal?
Interesting. I mean, so is it like Risk, where you have, the board game Risk, where everybody has the secret missions, and the mission could be to kill this other player, or it could be just to do this thing in this place in the map?
Exactly. That's what I was thinking. It could be random things. It could be go to this place, or it could be, loot one item from the 3rd tower, or defeat a bugbear, or like you said, kill somebody.
Yeah. Maybe. I'm not sure. Maybe.
And an optional thing though, like they'll give you some sort of benefit, but you don't have to.
Exactly. Like that's what I was saying. It might be worth a key, but then you have to figure out if you're going to be able to do it, if you want to do it, if you can convince the people that you're currently working with to do it.
Right. Damien's asking how many people can one person kill in one night. That would be 1, I think.
Yeah.
And
Take it easy, Damien.
And Damien, join us on the chat right now. Come on right now. It's right in our Discord, and join up, guys. Just so you know, we're actually starting. Patreon is almost done. It'll be out very, very, very soon. And attached to that is our Discord, and we actually get to do a test run on this right now. As we're doing right now, because we're actually using Discord to be talking to each other, and we're streaming it out live using our software in the studio. So yeah, very soon we'll be opening up Discord to everybody else, and we'll have a couple of fun things you do on there, as well as Patreon, and a lot of cool things. For everybody watching right now, please like, subscribe, hit the bell, and get notifications when we are going live. And we go live every Monday and Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're trying to go live, even though the coronavirus is, causing a lot of problems out everywhere. We hope everyone's safe, and try to keep, do what you can to keep yourselves safe and virus free. And we wish you nothing but the best of luck. And we'll definitely try to go live whenever we can, as much as we can during these crazy times. So a couple of things coming in. Wally Waters is saying, what if the finish is also the start? Yeah, they could come out of the portal, and the point is to get back to like their world. That could be an aspect of it. That's interesting.
Hey guys.
Hey, Scro.
Hey,
What's up, Scro?
How's it going?
What's up, buddy?
Scro, what do you got to add? You got any questions for us?
I think you answered my how many people could I kill in one night question.
What do you think? Any changes? Any idea?
Not at the moment. I'm trying to absorb it all in and kind of, see. But so far, I like a lot of what I'm seeing. I like the map. I like the ideas of the keys and the towers, and it sounds great.
So this map was helped themed by Teresa Johnson, who I sat down with her and I was like, I need to do something that's different, something interesting, and she was like, yeah, something with death, something with like darkness. I was like, ooh, okay. And I made all the black area, and I was like, oh yeah, we can have like the shadows are out there trying to kill you, and then she came up with the idea of the Purple Mountains, and then we did it. It felt like a nightmare, although a little bit like a dream. It also reminds me of the game The Long Dark on Xbox and on Steam, and I just liked it, just like the loneliness of the game. So I think when we play, we'll have wind in the background and some creepy music and stuff, and that's why I think riding with that element as far as we can go is a really cool thing. What is up to William Luciano? How's it going? We are not playing tonight, but we are working out the game, a new type of the D&D Royale game that we're playing for next week, so we can try it out. And it's, if you've been listening, it's basically like a spooky version of the D&D Royale game that we've been playing. So yeah, definitely listen up and let us know what you think. So a lot of it. Go ahead, Ben.
So we're talking about a lot about how to accomplish the goal, and one of the mechanics that we have in the other D&D Royale game is when a character dies, they come back. So fitting with this theme and death and everything like that, a character dies and they roll a 20 instead of say casting lightning and a storm zombie, do they come back as a vampire?
So I think I don't know if they should come. They won't be like storm zombies when they come back, but we could definitely talk about the element of like coming back as like ghosts and haunting the rest of the group. That definitely might be a pretty cool aspect. I'm not sure right now of if it'll be the same way as the other D&D Royale. So I guess open the floor to ideas. Charlie Lewis says, I know it was brought up at the beginning a little bit, but is there still going to be the option for us to use gold to affect the game, such as the dragons that's on the map or an assassin? Absolutely, Charlie. We love the D&D Royale we play. We love having it so that people can get involved and affect the game and ruin someone's day for a second, which is a lot of fun to watch. So we definitely will have things on the side, and if you guys have any ideas for ways to affect the game, bring them up, because that's probably one of the most fun parts of it. So whatever you got, lay it on us. So what do you guys think about let's talk about death?
About being able to come back from dead?
Yeah, so if someone dies early in the game, what do they do? Do they come back as like a zombie? They're chasing after somebody?
I don't know. I like the idea of the death being more.
You know what? I think for this version, maybe
drama.
You're out. You're done. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I agree.
You know what? Sad walk out of the room, actually.
Oh wow! Like the person leaves, goes home.
They have to leave. That's it. They're out.
To leave. That's brutal.
That is brutal.
The walk of shame.
Yep.
That's pretty savage.
We all have to be
silent. Are you
silent.
just trying to get the chance to get home early?
We all have to be silent while they pack up their stuff and walk out.
Percival, could you put that up as a vote? Because that's a big decision.
Okay, yeah, I'll put it up right now.
What if Steve has to come in and like muscle us out of the room? Like, come on, get your stuff. You're out of here. Come on.
Oh, I love that. Steve, if you're listening right now, let me know if you like that idea.
Grabs us by the arm, kind of like cuffs us and walks us out.
That's it, man. You're out. You're out. You gotta go.
Wait, so if we successfully fend off Steve, do we get to stay in the game?
Oh, I love that. So you have to battle Steve?
Wait, like a physical fight in the studio?
I'm in.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll just body slam him right on the table there, take it out, and get right back.
Wow.
Fight him in the white room.
Vin, you think you're gonna body slam Steve?
I have no idea, but
that's what I was thinking too.
Really?
Charlie
Well,
Lewis says,
I'd pay to see that.
That's what I think before. Sorry.
Okay, the
Rabies
poll
in the
is up.
caves, towers. Basset rabies in the caves. Yes, you know what, Charlie? It definitely could be something where you guys are placing like traps and different stuff, and I'll just load them up in the tower, and when they go in, all those traps are waiting for them. That'd be a crazy, crazy thing. Percival just put up: should people have to leave the room if they die? and we're talking about in real life, guys.
Because think about it. Like if someone dies, and like this whole theme is darkness and death. Like, how eerie would it be, like, if it's just like two of us left in the room with like you, with like?
Oh, you know what I'll do? I'll make a lighting feature. At the very worst, it'll just go black, and the person gets up and leaves in the darkness, and then we turn the lights back on. They're back.
What?
do you think?
They're
Like
back?
I'm sorry, we're back without them.
Oh yeah. I like the Walk of Shame. The Walk of Shame. Oh, that's brutal.
Right.
We're gonna do. Remember on what was it? The Joe Schmo show, where someone got voted off the fake reality show, and they would
you're
take
dead
the
to us?
plate. Yeah, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. You're dead to us. Please leave. They throw the plate onto the fire. She goes, please leave.
I think the walk of shame is great, especially like if you just don't acknowledge them at all. Like no one makes eye contact,
we
and
all
they
have to
just
put our
have to
heads
like
down,
walk
and,
It's
away.
all awkward. Like you have to make believe you're looking away and everything.
Yeah. Then the person's gonna go and harass the survivors in the comments after they leave.
Oh my god, it's so savage.
Now,
It-
question.
it-
Now, there has to be that whole lone wolf element. It can't just be like we're all trying to work together, but it's just really damn hard.
There has to be a reason for this game to work properly, and it'll work if we try to not put this aspect into it. But I think we really want to be there. It's got to be that there's got to be a motivation for you to work as a team and to work on your own. And obviously, like you're gonna get all the items and stuff by yourself if you're alone, and you also can get a lot of stuff, less stuff, but more security in with the group.
Because I'm thinking of like, what if it's like more like a raid type situation where like, okay, you have to get 3 keys that open the 3 towers, and that'll trigger the portal to open. But you have to split up. You have to go to this and do it it's like we have to do it as fast as possible. You don't want to be there for 3 days, It's like, what if something like
What?
Yeah, well, yeah, like why not have like a version of the game where like it is a team thing, and then just a version of the game where it's not a team thing.
because
know
like
what I
we're already playing like a free for all like mode. That's what the other game is. Like, what if this game was more like a dark team like thing, where it's just really hard to like play. It's like, really hard.
The
I
whole
like
act-
that part of it. That it's part of it is like working together as a team to just survive.
I think it's got to be both. I think it's very important for this game to be multi-layered. It's got to be both. You can play it as a lone wolf, or you can play it as part of a team, and there has to be that constant, untrusting feeling in the game. Like that's where we're building this game around.
It's
So if
funny because like it's so hard to do that because like the best plan is to stick together and more power in numbers. It's like there's no positive side to going off on your own. It's like.
What if you just separate both parts? Like the game starts and you have to work together, like no matter what, and then once you get to the end game is when like people can start to branch off.
Well, you could. That's the thing. You'll have the freedom to do that right away. If you feel like someone's necessary, take them out right at the beginning. Or
Yeah, I think there's the risk of like, at which point do I risk doing that? Like, okay, I think I'm in a good spot now. I'm gonna, betray the group and just go for the victory. But if you do it too early, that you could be in trouble.
What about this? What if say like Rob and Vin are in the castle, and Rob being the betrayer that he is,
Yeah, of course.
they're looting they're looting the fortress, and then like Vin gets a key, and they do it together. They rest, and Rob's like,
We're natural allies.
The natural allies. He whispers to him. He whispers into his ear before he kills him. We're natural allies.
But let's not forget, Rob and I are either the greatest friends or the worst enemies.
Right, exactly. So there you go. So I mean, like that would be a good move, because if like the other player has a bunch of items on him and you have some, then you're making a great case. You return, and that's it. So I mean,
then why would you sleep if you had a lot of items?
Why would you sleep if you had a lot of items? What do you mean?
Points to
If,
recover
if
hit
you're
points.
desperate for hit points.
Yeah. You don't get hit points unless you rest.
I'm finding a really hard like motivation to want to be on my own in this.
What
like,
about?
why would it's so hard? Why would I not want that extra help there? It's like,
But
Okay,
if I had
that's
powerful items,
that's
I would-
kind
Because
of
you
I would
have to
want-
be the only person to win at the end. At
Yeah,
some
that's kind
point,
of the-
You're gonna have to reach.
Yeah, I
yeah.
think
That's
we
like
want.
the mechanic of the game is that like we're supposed to be in a group working together, and then the
Yeah.
question is, like, when are we going to turn on each other? How are we going to turn on each other?
So what about we apply, like this world's kind of like like it's like a world of death. It's surrounded by shadow like that. So what if like the more evil you do, the more the world empowers you. So if you kill another player, you get like a dark ability.
oh, you get like a bonus. That's cool.
He loves
There he is. There he is.
All right, just keep coming. Keep coming. Like, keep talking about this.
All you have to say is, "Oh, Phil, you get a bonus for killing people." He's like, oh, "Okay, good."
So maybe if you kill a bunch of people, and either you just get all those abilities, or maybe it leads to like a transformation to something very powerful, like a vampire or something like that. You become something more powerful.
My problem that I see with something like that, though, Tony, is that will give us motivation to just fight right from the start. Like, just try to kill each other, take each other out, because then we're gonna be more likely to survive the board.
Not really, because if Phil turns on somebody, like say like the first one and starts doing it, they're not gonna let him turn into that crazy thing. They're like, guys, we have to stop him right now.
Yeah, but what's going to inevitably happen is that, okay, well, we turn on Phil. Somebody killed Phil, so they have a power. Now, do we turn on that person? Does that person get the opportunity to continue their transformation?
I could just make it as I could just make it as a DM's call. Like when you're doing it out of greed and like this, then you get an evil bonus. But if you're doing it to protect yourselves and like that, I don't reward it. Like I reward.
But I think if you kill someone who has a bonus, if you kill someone who get their bonus, I think,
no.
This way it doesn't create this situation where you end up with one and runs through it by themselves.
Yeah, it should almost be like the overseer of this world is rewarding everybody that he thinks is like lusting for greed and evil, like that.
I don't know. I think the idea of the 3 keys to try to get out is motivation enough. It's that balance of you're playing how long do we be allies versus I get what Phil's saying. There's no point to like in his like in your idea that there's no motivation for you to separate, but there is, because there can be only one winner. So you're really judging is how long can I survive, as Tony said before. How long can I survive alone versus as a team? How long do I need your help?
Charlie is making an interesting point. She's saying, how about if you go alone, you have a higher sneak advantage. So maybe if you're by yourself, you don't have to fight creatures as much, because the creatures are, it's much harder to see you. So you benefit from going alone. Like crossing bridges won't be as risky, or hiding in the tree area is possible if you're alone.
But that's the benefit of staying with the group, though. The benefit of staying with the group is, having the group to fight this scary world.
Well, I guess perhaps to go with what she's saying, perhaps it would be like, it's harder for you to be seen to your advantage, but if you have to fight, it's much harder to defend yourself. Because
it gives you a small advantage. You can try and sneak through, but it's a risk. If you get caught, now you're on your own.
I got you. Okay, that makes sense.
Scott Weber is saying alliances. There needs to be a loot drop sound effect when they die before they walk the walk of shame. Scott Weber says, passing notes, hand notes. Will you help me betray everyone? Check yes or no. And Charlie says, okay. Charlie's saying thank you. What did everybody say, first of all, from the poll? Should people have to leave the room if they die? The walk of shame. Yes or no?
Oh, 1 second. Let me see.
So what do you guys think about?
Oh my God, it's actually 50-50.
Oh.
Oh wow.
Yes.
I didn't vote yet though. I could be the determining vote.
Vote yes.
I didn't vote either.
Oh wow. Well, just say where you're voting. Just don't vote. Just say it.
I just keep imagining like.
I'm gonna vote yes, because I think that's hysterical.
I just keep imagining somebody dying and then like complaining about how they died, and everyone just ignoring them, like putting their heads down and not even acknowledging them.
I think it's gonna be so frustrating, because if you die, especially in a way that like you're like, damn, and then you have to just leave and you can't vent it out.
Right, exactly.
It's terrible.
It's hilarious though.
It is hilarious. It's so terrible. Oh my God. It's great. Todd says, just shake your head slowly and point towards the door. I like that. Everyone just points to the door and you have to just leave. They can't talk to you.
Shame.
Yeah.
Shame.
There you go. There you go. So, what do we think about Charlie's idea, where alone you have better rolls, and then maybe I can make it so that it's a scale. The more people you have in the group, the harder it gets. I'm sorry, the easier it gets to be seen.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Like the random encounter chance goes down the fewer people in your group.
Scaled random encounter. Yeah, great job, Charlie.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's a good idea.
Like you might attract a dragon if you have a full party. Like
Right.
I don't know about that though. Again, the whole full you attract a full party. I like the idea of scaling, but not the idea of like, oh, if you have a full party, there'll be this big beast that comes out. Because again,
yeah, why not though? That's
and
like
when
cool. It's like
because again, it goes back to how much do we want to have this hidden role mechanic. If you're off by yourself, that mechanic's out of the game. The whole idea of the hidden role, the hidden keys, etc.
Well, just right now, we'll just make it that it's just about the easiness of the encounter. Well, not the easiness of the encounter, the likelihood of the encounter. So we could talk about what kind of enemy it brings.
Yeah, there's still a chance in the late.
So
the final area that you could be by yourself and still get a big monster.
So we're starting to get close to the end of the stream. It's about 10:40 right now. We just need to conquer that last part. The last part that we keep wrestling with is how many keys, orbs are needed. What are they for? And how does that get there? Because that's the only part. The rest of the game is D&D Royale, which we already know. We have the mechanic, the sleeping mechanic. That scaled sneak, which Charlie just did, was a great idea. The fortune teller Scott Weber added, and a few other ideas we've added on from the listeners, which is awesome. Thank you guys. How do we work out the keys? So I like the idea. It's not like you guys didn't like the idea of the keys going to the fortresses. But what do we do with those keys, orbs, and whatever?
I kind of like the idea of the keys going into the fortresses. Like, key goes into the fortress, then you go into the fortress, and then once the fortress is cleared, then that could trigger like an entry point for the portal. So like you have to clear all 3 fortresses to open the portal. I like that.
Is it possible that every fortress? How about every fortress has like an orb that can be absorbed in it, and the keys can open the fortresses? So there's layers to there, to how you need people and you're in the groups and things like that. And then to win the game, you just have to absorb one of the orbs and try to make your way out.
Only one orb?
We'll say one orb, and if you do, then you're making your mad dash for the end.
Wait, do you have to trigger all the orbs though? Do all the fortresses have to be opened?
It's up to you guys. The first thought, what I would say, no, because even if you trigger the first one, you won't be anywhere near powerful enough to go to it, and you'll also be a huge target.
Well, the first fortress plus all the items in the fortress,
Plus, the second you have the orb, you're going to be a big target anyway if you only need one.
Right.
But then I think we're losing the role playing aspect though. Like, why would anybody lie to anybody in that situation?
Well,
if a key opens a fortress and inside the fortress is an orb, where's the opportunity or the reason for anyone to lie to anybody else?
Well, it could be about who actually absorbed it, who got it.
Again, in that case, we're reverting back to the idea of this basically being a battle royale. There's no reason for me to team up. I just want to get to that thing, get the orb, and get out. I mean, and then like Dan was saying, there's no role playing aspect. Like we were saying, there's no secret role mechanic. There's no difference. It's really just battle to get the key. Whoever we want to get the key with, we want to get to that fortress, get the orb, and get out.
Okay, so maybe how about this? How about you're absorbing orbs? There are 3 orbs. You can absorb it. Obviously, if you're in there, you can absorb it. It's not clearly known who has it. You'd have to do something or have an item or whatever. And perhaps if somebody absorbs 2 orbs out of 3, however they do it, they have enough power to travel through the portal.
But again, to pose the opposite of Phil's question, why would I want to work with anybody?
Well, I think you're in juxtaposition to Phil, because Phil's of the opposite thing. So if you're saying why would you work with somebody, and Phil is saying why would I wouldn't work with somebody, then I feel like that the game's good. Unless Phil changes his mind.
No, if the thing is that you're saying there's only one winner, it's like, I don't know.
See, I
So what
think
do
it's gone too
so
back
what-
in the other direction. That's
I
the
think
problem.
so. Instead of the question about the other thing that we're talking about, let's answer the question that I'm posing. So what about if you go in there and a person absorbs the orb? You're not sure who it is. There are ways to find it out. But the second that somebody absorbs 2 orbs, however they do it, whether they kill another player for it or they absorb it in the castle, then they can make their way to the final gate to get out. What do we think about that idea?
I like it. Killing another player at this point will grant you more power.
Yes, I like the idea of giving, like, if you just straight up kill a player and it's not in self defense and it's clearly for like the greed, lust, or evil over power, then you should get some kind of like dark ability. Nothing too
get,
crazy.
I think you should just even just take 2 like ability points. That'd be cool too.
Take 2? What do you mean?
That's insane.
Why is that
Yeah,
insane?
that's
You just
nuts, dude.
that's the drive. That's it.
Again, I mean, at this point, we're going so far on the other side of the spectrum. Why would I work with you? Why would I not just be like, let me just kill you right now and get those points and get to the top?
Because the rest of the party wouldn't let you do that.
Why
Right.
not?
Yeah, why not?
If
Why
I,
wouldn't we
so
all
if
be
I
killing
kill
each
if
other?
I kill Vin and you guys saw me do that, you would just let me do that and take those points and walk away.
Why would we not all be trying to kill each other?
Right. Yeah, like
There's
I
more
feel like
simple.
we're
Because if you don't all kill each other, you're for instantly you're gonna lose the game. There's no way you're gonna be able to go through the game and face all the monsters by yourself. Because even when you try to rest, there's nobody to watch your back. So it's
Yeah,
really
I think
hard to
that's
do it by
the key
yourself.
point. That the map is a bigger enemy than
Yeah.
threat to each other.
Right,
It's-
exactly.
If you
And
kill
guys-
everybody right away, you're dead. You're never gonna get through the map.
there's gonna be monsters that face your whole journey there, and then to the fortress, and then back, and then the guardian at the end. So you need, if you built yourself up strong by getting a lot of items, and maybe you did kill a couple of players, then it's like, you know what, I'm powerful enough where I could actually make a run on this creature by myself.
But
If
see,
people-
think about it though. I mean, from the game standpoint, like if we do Phil's idea of 2 attribute points when you kill somebody, right? If we kill each other, so there's 6 players in the game.
I don't-
So that's potentially 10 attribute points.
Well, you're talking
That's
about that idea. We're just talking about the mechanic of the idea. I think Phil, that's just Phil's suggestion. That I think
Yeah,
that
just the idea.
I think it should just be a dark ability is added on. That's helpful.
right, but again, if you want to make this board itself, if you want to make the game itself scary for someone to go through by myself, right? But
Right.
then if as I'm knocking off players one by one and I have the ability to do that, why wouldn't I do that if I'm going to get more and more powerful, where I start to think to myself, I don't care if I'm with a group.
At some point, you will start to think like that, maybe as
Right, and I want you to think
closer
that.
to the end.
That-
you
Yeah,
can't
but
just
we're
start
automatically
it
going to
But-
think like that because
Why
the
not?
goal is only one person can win. So we're automatically going to think about when can we kill this person.
Well,
It's
that's
a
why I like
matter
the
of-
idea of everybody getting off. Like, you may not win, but you survived. There's like a consolation prize of at least surviving and getting off the island. So there's some incentive there to be willing, I think, to be second place. Like seeing how it go. It's not just it's every man for himself in the end, but it's not just I want to wipe everybody out through. It's like the party's trying to get through, and I want to be the first one out. So it's kind of balancing that. And maybe at the end, then I try and pick people off. But if there's going to be a big boss battle at the end too, you have to think about that. I think the powers we get for killing someone shouldn't make you say as strong as 2 people. It should be
Cumulative.
even if you get all these special abilities, you're still weaker than a full party would be.
Right, but the idea is like if you play the game as an anti-hero and you're killing off the other players and you're becoming more powerful, there should be a point where you can make a run because you're fueled on evil and you can make a run on the bad guy with maybe all those items. So you took all the items together, pulled everything together, all your powers and resources, you can make a run on it, which then makes the lone wolf aspect there, and you become like a living entity, that can like a force to be reckoned with
And
around the map.
I think the killing people adds an interesting element. Like if we go to sleep at night, so we all close our eyes. When we wake up, it's just okay, someone's dead, and it
Right.
adds that kind of element to it. Like, whoa, who did it? It's like this mystery aspect, and maybe one other person stayed up now, and maybe they know who the murderer is, and maybe they choose to tell everybody else, yeah, he killed this guy. Let's all gang up on him. Or maybe they try and form an alliance with that person instead. It adds some interesting role playing there.
I think it works. Anyone of the opposite feeling?
Chat might interfere with like someone not knowing, like if they can see what's happening.
We should absolutely pull all the players out of the phones.
Yeah, that would be essential. Yeah, because the chat could spoil things. So only
Right.
DM can see the chat.
Yeah. Let's see what we have going on here. Let's see. Todd says, "Just shake your head." Would a difficulty of clearing the fortress be set statically, or would it scale with the amount of people entering? I don't know. I probably would have it set, so that way it's up to you guys to like bring enough people or don't. Derek says some sort of corruption. Then corruption, yes, absolutely for a player that's doing it. It's kind of like dark side points in like a Star Wars campaign. Todd he says, yeah, true. The game could create their own villain if only one person goes alone and kills the player for the power. Charlie Lewis says maybe you can't kill each other outright. You have to make it a clean kill. You can't be traced back to it, but you know you were the cause of their deaths. That's how you get the dark advantage. It might be cool. It has to be like maybe it has to be a cold-blooded murder. You can do that. Like it has to be like a murder to do it. It can't just be like you fought them in combat. You know, that's another idea we can put on there. Blake Stalling says overseer of the world could intercede and offer up a bounty on the most powerful player. That's a great idea. Or secretly favoring the weakest player till the end. So like almost like the Necromancer or whatever creature is there comes in and says like you're worshiping him. And he comes in and like, you know, as a Necromancer talks to you and says like he's become too powerful. Take him out and you too powerful. Something like that. Scott Weber says, okay, bear with me. Every player you kill counts towards gaining an ability on a random table. It's a great idea. Derek, last one. Derek Luxton says, if you start killing players off again, that comes to the idea of an entity that seeks to destroy the portal. If someone has 2 orbs, the player gets the ability to. Next sentence is the player gets the ability, but the cost to killing players and not spreading the keys out is the very possible destruction of the portal. You wouldn't want to kill everyone too early. Also, what if the person gets the keys, but any orb could be a false orb? Charlie says the shadows did it, not me, but you really killed them. That's her thing. Yeah, so what's your thoughts, guys?
I don't know. I just think if there's incentive to kill off your party members early on, then I feel like it takes away from the whole role playing and lying aspect here.
I got an incentive. I figured it out. Ready?
Yeah.
What if in order to absorb an orb to allow you to enter the portal, what if it requires a human soul?
Somebody else was saying that before, like a sacrifice.
Like if it requires another player's character's soul. So like the first orb requires 1, the second orb requires 2.
Again, that just becomes, okay, we're going to work together, and we know that we get to that tower, and that one requires 2 people, there's 3 of us, and we're going to get there, and we're just going to fight right then.
It is a little bit too. I agree with Vin. It is a little bit too definite. Like then you know, like we're walking in, and it's kind of cool in one aspect that like, okay, 3 men are gonna go in, only one's gonna come out. But then it's also like, it's almost like there's no leeway for it could go. A sacrifice is cool though. I like the idea of a sacrifice.
I mean, I don't know. I still am going back to the idea that at the end of the game, I think the role-playing aspect is strongest when the motivation to kill each other is not a bonus, but trying to figure out exactly when we need to kill the other players so that we're the last one standing with keys.
Right, because there may not be a benefit to going off and doing the whole quest by yourself and getting keys by yourself. But because only one person can win, you know there's going to be a point where like we start turning on each other and we start killing each other. So the incentive is there. The incentive is to win. If you don't eventually start fighting and killing people, then you're not going to win.
I guess.
But if there's incentive to start doing it earlier, then like it's I feel like we're gonna very quickly lose the role playing aspect that we're looking to have here.
So
Well, that's why I think we should make surviving something like I felt like one winner. Like there's a winner, but I think there can be secondary winners, and
But
that
see,
should be
but I feel like at that point we lose the incentive to kill people at all.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, also when you guys start, don't forget there is the aspect that people know. We talked about it before, but it needs to be, I guess, more emphasized that it's going to be dangerous. It's going to be really dangerous. Like every time you go, you're going to be under fire from creatures, and they're going to come in, they're going to attack heavy, and you're going to be thankful for the people at your side. So it isn't your benefit for a while. Then somewhere in the mid game, possibly when people start getting items, start getting keys and orbs like that, then it'll be a sense of the power struggle coming in that this is not a forever situation. And I think that if somebody went early on, it would be very difficult to pull that unless they killed and then they leave the next round. You know.
Well, that's why I think again, with the role playing aspect and everything, I think there's a natural countdown to that betrayal aspect. I think that's part of the appeal of this, rather than someone just trying to go it alone. Then you lose the role playing aspect altogether because they're not even with the group. What are they going to look like? I'm just going to do my action and be done.
Yeah, if there's only one winner who could win, I guess it's there the whole time. The eventual betrayal.
So I guess let's go. We're getting to the last couple minutes of this. Let's get to like the nitty gritty decision of this. So going around the chat room here, I'll go in order as a list here. So start with Vin. What would be the percentage that you would go alone and the percentage that you would stay with the group? And this will kind of just put it in perspective how people are feeling about it. Just give me that.
But the question is based on which rules?
Just give me the short answer. What's the percentage you go rogue and percentage that you stay with the group?
If we're playing without the motivation to kill people, my percentage of staying with the group is probably 75-80% of the time until we get to that point where we have to kill people. If it's a question we have motivation, it's going to drop significantly.
So 75% until like mid game. So what about you, Dan?
Yeah, I would say maybe about the same, but maybe it might be a little higher to go off on my own, knowing that the likelihood of an encounter is less. So maybe not 75, maybe somewhere around like 65-35, something like that.
Okay, what about you, Phil?
I'm probably around like a 60-65. You know, because if you're killing other players, grants you dark powers, and then eventually you're gonna have to go it alone. Yeah, I'd eventually go
alone. And that's okay. That sounds like so far it was kind of following the flow. Rob, what do you think? Rob, you there?
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear you. Yeah, I agree. I think definitely early game to set there is you don't want to start killing people necessarily right away. There should come that point where it becomes more beneficial to do so. If you start doing it too early, you're just going to hurt everybody. So make it kind of very slim chance early on if it's just based on the random encounters or whatever, to more incentive to have that big party. Less likely to go alone early, and then later on as you start acquiring items, and then maybe then you kill someone, pick up a couple of power, only maybe you've created a scenario where you could theoretically survive on your own, but it should take a while to get there, I think.
So it sounds like you're basically the same as what they're saying. Scro, if you're with us, what do you think, Scro?
Yeah, that seems to be my impression of it, like about a 75-25% split.
Okay. Percival, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm thinking it just makes sense to be a team in the beginning, and then towards the end, that's when you're gonna want to start to kill some people.
So I think that's a good spot then, because everyone's kind of saying the same thing. Everybody sees the benefit of being together, but then there's this inevitable crunch of the game, where the game is going to entice you exactly what we want it to be. You want it to be like, the darkness of the game is enticing you to like betray somebody and get a little extra stronger. Maybe you could take advantage here. Maybe you do it sooner. Maybe you do it later. That's kind of what you want it to be. But everyone's not going to come out swinging for the fences for each other. It doesn't benefit anybody to do that, because the game's going to be pounding on you and you'll be hitting each other. and then you're all just going to lose. So it seems like it's good. It's good. It's good in the middle. Any last notes for anybody, and any last thoughts?
Can we work on a team game next?
Yeah, we can do a team game. I mean, we did the dungeon D&D Royale to have that PvP aspect because we always Audio Dungeon is like the team game. But we can do. I can make another one that's a third one that's like a team aspect game.
No, even like a 3-on-3 team like aspect. Not even like we're all working together like that kind of.
Or teams of 2.
Or teams of 2, yeah.
Teams of 2.
Yeah,
Teams of
2v2
2 or teams of
that's
3.
right.
So how about this? Next week we'll play this. We'll play it with the free for all, and then we'll decide right there at the end of the show if we should play it in teams or is it better as a free for all.
Sounds good. Oh, because you know what? As teams,
yeah.
it's cool because then like two teams could go to different towers, and then it's like a middle tower. That last tower is like a battle. You know, that's like cool. Great.
Yeah, it could be it. I think as we play it, we'll see if this game might lend itself to that kind of concept.
Very excited.
Very cool. Okay, guys. That was an epic talk. We worked out a lot of kinks of the game. I think we have our second game for D&D Royale. Guys, everyone at home, thank you for joining. Please put up some emojis. Let us know how you feel about this game. Were you shocked? Were you happy? Were you crying? Were you angry? Let us know what it is, or like and love it, and let us know how you feel. Guys, we're live next on 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Wednesday for Audio Dungeon. And please always follow the show. Please share it out and let people know that we are live. And let them know we exist, frankly, because we want to know the show. Thank you to Vin Benatti. Thank you to Dan Isgro. Thank you to Phil Castellano, Rob Spataro, Damian Scrow, and Percival Fairweather. Thank you to Steve Keeley for holding us down at the studio. And for Digital Dungeon, I'm Tony Hansen, and we'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much, everybody.